everyone, it's Miss Sinclair
and Mrs. Carnes.
We're going to practice some trig graphs to help you review for your test. So the first one we're going to graph is y equals sine 2x from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so remember we're going to write down some important information. So let's write down amplitude, frequency, period, and let's do the range. So amplitude here is 1. Frequency is 2. And let's figure out period. Remember, it's 2 pi divided by whatever your frequency is. So in this case, it's 2 pi divided by 2. So the period is just pi. And the range goes hand in hand with our amplitude. So in this case, the range is -1 to 1. Now we want to find those critical values. It's going to help us graph. We always find our critical values the same way. We take our period and divide it by 4. So that's something that you definitely want to remember. Take your period and divide it by 4. Okay, so in this case, the period is pi. So pi divided by 4 is just pi over 4. So now let's list all of our critical values. So I'm going to list them on the side here. So I'm going to have one at 1 pi over 4. And I'm going to have one at 2 pi over 4. Which can reduce to pi over 2. So I'm going to put the reduced ones on the right here. So I have pi over 4, now I have pi over 2. Okay, so 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, which can't be reduced. 4 pi over 4, which we can reduce to pi. 5 pi over 4, which can't be reduced. 6 pi over 4, which I can reduce to 3 pi over 2. 7 pi over 4, which again can't be reduced. And then I have 8 pi over 4, which reduces to 2 pi. And I know to stop because in the directions they told me to start at 0 and go to 2 pi. That's why my last critical value here is going to be 2 pi. So now let's set up our axes. You want to really use as much of the graph as you can. I'm going to see how many critical values I have. Think if I can skip every other box. That'll make my graph look a little spread out. I'm going to put the reduced values on the axis here. My amplitude's only 1, so if I want to spread out my graph, I can even skip 4 boxes and just do 1 and -1. Still in 0. Okay, so now it's very important. We are going to be graphing sine. So we have to remember how we graph sine. So sine, we know, starts at the midline. So it's going to start here at 0, 0. And you're going to go up to your maximum. Back down to your midline, down to your minimum, back up to your midline, to your maximum, midline, down to your minimum, and then back up to your midline. And then you want to connect it. Remember, it's a sine curve. So you want to try to do your best. Make it be curved. And there we go. Let's just make sure that based on our important information, it makes sense. Amplitude is 1, so it goes up to 1, down to -1. Frequency is 2. That's how many complete cycles I should see from 0 to 2 pi. Well, that works. I see 1, 2 cycles. And the period is pi. And that makes sense too. I see 1 complete cycle from 0 to pi. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at another trig graph, and now we're going to be graphing a cosine curve, and we're looking at y equaling 3 cosine x. So again, let's take a look at some important information. So in this graph, we have an amplitude of 3, which we can see here. We have a frequency of 1, because the only number in front of x here would be a 1. Our period, which always comes from taking 2 pi and dividing it by the frequency, is going to be
2 pi divided by 1, which is going to reduce to 2 pi. If we want to take a look at our range, all right, let me get that a little bit. Our range is again going to correspond to our amplitude, which is 3. So that means I'm going to have a minimum of -3 and a maximum of +3. Okay, so now I want to start graphing, so I need to think about my critical values. So the critical values are always going to be take your period and divide by 4. So we have a period in this case of 2 pi. So if I take 2 pi and divide it by 4, that reduces to pi over 2. So now I need to think about my domain. So my domain is going from -pi to +pi. So if I have a critical value of pi over 2, 1 pi over 2, and then I go to 2 pi over 2, that's going to reduce to being pi. So this is as far as I can go to the right side of my x-axis. So if I think about now going to the left side, I would hit 0 as a critical value. I would have -1 pi over 2, and I'm also going to have -2 pi over 2. If I look at it like this, which would be -pi. Okay, so these are the critical values in reduced form that we're going to put on our graph. So now again, we want to spread things out a little. Here's 0. So maybe we'll skip 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. So I have pi over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have pi. On the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4. -pi over 2. And -pi. Okay, now we want to look at the y-axis. So our amplitude is 3. So we can skip 2 boxes. We can make this 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. Okay, so we're graphing a cosine curve. So cosine is going to start at its maximum or minimum. So in this case, we have a positive cosine curve. So we're going to start up here at 3. And when we're going to the right, it's going to go from its maximum to the midline, down to its minimum. And then if we look on the left side of our domain here, we're going to go from the maximum to the midline, to the minimum. And again, this is a curve, so when I connect these points, I want to make sure I have a smooth curve on either side. Okay, we hope watching this video helps you prepare for your trig exam, and good luck studying.